head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine.
Todd's singing voice.
Richie, this is Chrissy freaking Teigen. We have physical contact with her. What are we doing on our side? Let's get on our back. Full creep ahead. Yeah.
I love being creepy. Let's just keep things pure. You're married. Perhaps just the smell of her hair then?
This is a supermodel. All bets are off. This is justifiable.
Let's just go back to the hotel, and we'll take a nap.
Oh, we ain't nothing. Grab the lotion.
Look, you're gonna be tuckered out after a light lunch and the box score.
Chicken
parm?
Salad. Okay, salad.
Starts right now.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Collins for box score.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles. They are the Danettes in New York City. We are down one Danette as Seton was poached by Darius Rucker to go out on tour with him. Look up those dates on something like that. All right, Paulie, of the remaining of you three, who would be the most fun to be on tour with?
On tour with? Well, it's interesting because you'd think I'd say Seton O'Connor because he's a fun guy, he knows music. But Seton sometimes goes too hard too early and isn't a pacer. I actually enjoy Andrew's company on the road because he doesn't drink, but he stays out late, which means he's not a sloppy mess that you have to take care of, but he doesn't mind going out till 2 or 3 in the morning. And Fritzy, not a guy who's gonna go out late or often.
Or early.
Or early, or at all sometimes.
Yeah, unless you bring the party to my hotel room, which is a whole other story.
Can I say something? This is gonna sound like Paulie is an awesome travel partner because, like, you know all this food stuff, like, it really, like, remember the Super Bowl, like, you pulled out a barbecue joint at, like, 1 a.m.
He's very passionate
on drive
about his
home, like, you basically, like, he's pulling out maps from the dashboard. They're like a part of the state. Now, Paulie's a solid road partner. See, I don't know, I can't picture you in the rock and roll lifestyle because you would be too distracted by food to do drugs and women. But yeah, well, maybe a young Paulie.
Yeah, but no, I like music. I'm not, you know, I don't get into the music topic sometimes as much as the other guys, but I've been to as many concerts, as high-end concerts as anybody here. And, but I just don't, I don't discuss music as much. I just kind of go and then watch and kind of go home. But Dan and Seton like to have arguments about concerts and stuff like that, but road partner, I mean, I know Dan went with Darius and the guys out in overseas years ago, and I've heard some stories.
That's the answer.
But they're getting better every year.
Yeah, Dan is the guy you want to tour with. Dan is definitely the guy you want to tour with.
Well, today's poll question was a main focal point, and you guys asked Dan Nation, whose career would you rather have, Darius Rucker or today's other big guest, John Smoltz? And of course, Darius Rucker had to weigh in because he was in studio.
I'd rather have John Smoltz just because he's in the Hall of Fame. I'm never going to be in the Hall of Fame or nothing. So I'll take
You don't think you'll get in the country?
I don't think I'll get in the Rock and Roll Country Hall of Fame, no.
If I said you could be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or the Country Hall of Fame?
Oh, goodness gracious. Good question. That's a great question right there. Why do you do this to me? Whichever one I say, I'm going to make 80 million people mad.
Exactly. Yeah. I know what you're going to pick.
Probably the Country Hall of Fame.
Yeah. That's exactly. That's smart. I was going to try to help you there.
Absolutely. Yep. I mean, yeah, it's been so good to me in the last 8 years. The Country Hall of Fame would be nice. But, you know, I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, I don't buy it. It's definitely the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because there are country singers in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think Darius was a little upset at the poll results.
You think he was playing it safe by going country because that's what he's doing now? And
Definitely,
yes. 100%. Longevity with?
But do you think he was a little miffed that people were voting for him?
Well, this is a sports show, so I think by default you're going to go with the Hall of Fame pitcher over the singer, but he was close. It was like 60-40 at most, right?
Yeah, well, 65-35 at the end, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, he did make a comment that
as long as
people don't want to be, you know, our voters wouldn't want to be, white people wouldn't want to be a black man. I thought he was a little frustrated at the outcome.
It was funny, that answer, because I mean, there's a great line by Chris Rock. Chris Rock, I'm not going to quote him, but he even says like, He goes, people would rather be like a poor white guy than me. He goes, and I'm rich. And he looked at the camera. It's this great bit he did. And Darius kind of sampled from it. The whole room just started laughing. And that's one of the reasons we like him here. He'll talk about just about anything, and he has such a good sense of humor. It feels so comfortable when he walks in. I was just like, hey, dude, when he walked in. He goes, hey.
Unbelievable.
And it's very, very casual, and it's surprising because I got out of college, and Hootie the Blowfish was the biggest band about a year and a half after I left college. And I would never have thought that I would have even met Darius Rucker back then, much less, hey, come on in and see it work on a Thursday afternoon.
Hey, Fritzy, let's say Darius Rucker fell in love with your voice and wanted to cut an album with you, and you would have some success with this. Would you do it if you had to leave the Dan Patrick Show? That would be the caveat.
Wow. My bread and butter is the Dan Patrick Show. That would be tough.
You're nuts.
Although there are days where you're feeling a little burnt out. You're like guests and topics and shows.
Only
and
one guest tomorrow.
I only have one guest tomorrow.
Speaking of, yeah.
I would love an opportunity to sing with Darius, but I think it would be just kind of like Seton did, where it'd have to be within the context of the show, where Seton was playing, or I'm nuzzling up with a supermodel on the couch or whatever, as opposed to leaving one thing behind altogether. Because who knows what's going to be? And knowing my singing background, which is like nothing, that could very easily be a one and done, unless Darius has some kind of lifetime contract.
All right, well, if you pass, I'll take it. If Darius Rucker wants to cut an album with me of duets, and we'll go on the road for a few months until people realize it sucks, I'm down, man. Got to leave this show sometime. At least I got a real job to go to, working with Darius for a few months.
Hey, McLovin, what if DP wanted to start a singing career, but let's say he wasn't all that good? Would you tell him the truth?
Wow. It's tough. Seton once made an offhand comment that Dan wasn't a great singer. Dan brings it up at least 3 times a week. I know you think I can sing to Seton. And Dan has a very nice voice. I mean, it might not be professional level. No, I would not bring it up. Come to think of it, I definitely would not, because he's super sensitive about singing in particular.
Yeah, with Dan, and I'm not one to talk, I'm Joe sensitive, but I think what you do in that situation is you play up all the positives about what Dan or whoever it would be is doing now and how great they are at what they're doing now, as opposed to why they would be an absolute disaster choosing the other thing. And then
well, it depends on
the message that
the funny thing with Dan, if you told him you know nothing about sports, then he'd battle with you. But if you told him that, he wouldn't like it. But then if you said you can't sing, he'd be just hurt and walk away. He'd be really hurt.
You can't put him down with the other thing. Just say, you're the king of this. I'm sure you would do great in this too, but just stick with something that everyone knows that you're so wonderful
Brock,
at.
back about 1 million years ago, we were at this place called Dimples in Burbank. I know you know Dimples. And Dan sang karaoke, and he sang Elvis. And he sang another song, but I don't remember it. I still have it on tape. I have a bin of old stuff that I will have to dig through if you could remind me. But it's Dan on stage in front of a couple hundred people singing In the Ghetto by Elvis.
Oh, we got to hear that.
And it's going to take a little digging, but I'm absolutely sure I still have it.
In the Ghetto, or one of Darius's biggest fans, Gamecocks head coach Steve Spurrier called in today and talked about his first concert he ever went to.
Johnny Cash came to University of Florida gym one night.
Oh, man.
And a bunch of us football players were backstage when he finished, and he came by and said, boys, where can we go get a beer at?
Did you go get a beer with Johnny Cash?
That was in the mid-'60s now. No, I didn't go with him, but I think somebody may have. I didn't go with him.
That was really awesome. It was nice of Spurrier. We called Spurrier when we realized we had Darius locked in here. Good job by Fritzy getting him. And the coolest thing was, at the start, we played Coach Spurrier off as a caller, Steven in Columbia, South Carolina, because it's a little more fun. And you see, he's got a very recognizable voice. I mean, I can tell Spurrier's voice in about one note. And all of a sudden, you see, if you watch the video, Darius goes, like, this is confusing. Is someone imitating my coach? And then
doing an amazing impersonation.
It was really good. And Spurrier, I can listen to him anytime. He's another great guest.
That was a great interview and way to stack those guests, as you would say. All right, beers with Johnny Cash, so that's an all-time topper. Coming up, DP talks to a Hall of Famer about Hall of Fame castaways that he would put in the Hall of Fame if he could put them in the Hall of Fame. Wait, I'm confused now. All right. Hey, you know what? Who would be in the Hall of Fame if I could put him in? The first ballot all around would be the Ram 1500 Eco Diesel. That's who I'm putting in. Every truck can tow a boat. Every truck can haul a trailer. Every truck can climb a hill. But not everybody has the most fuel-efficient half-ton truck on the road. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram. Welcome back to the Box Score. Guys, opening day is just a few days away, and baseball season is really upon us in the truest sense. McLovin, at what point in the season do you start caring about baseball?
I love the hot stove. I love right after the season's over and everyone starts talking about trades. And this is a function of the fact that the Phillies aren't in it this year. I'm a big Phillies fan. If they're in the pennant race, I'm into it. But otherwise, I like free agent moves, that kind of thing.
But you don't like the actual sport?
I do like the sport, but I don't get
engaged.
Are you doing the fantasy league thing? See, I used to be a big fantasy baseball
I used to always talk about like
and then the kids came, and I didn't have time to it.
Right.
And now I'm like, who are these people? But I'll get into it. I like, not in April, maybe there's like a week in June where I'm so into it.
Right before the All-Star.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame pitcher and, of course, accordion shredder John Smoltz joined the show today. Paulie, now you've taken hits from football players. Has there been any consideration of taking a fastball from John Smoltz?
Wow, I thought about that before. That seems real painful. And I don't think there's any way to really hide from that. The only thing I've ever done baseball-wise, this wasn't even on camera. We were at spring training, spring '03, and we took BP from pitches from Barry Zito. Was Zito left-handed? Does that sound right? Zito's left-handed. We're asking him what it feels like to stand in left-handed, and he told me, he goes, grab a bat, and I stood in left-handed. I couldn't hit him if you gave me like a bat that was this big. But he threw a pitch, and it looked like it was going to come right into my eye canal.
It's coming from like right behind.
And I literally just went like this, and it went down and away 5 feet away from me, and I was like, I'm out of here, man. But as far as taking a fastball from someone, if Nolan Ryan said I'd do it, I would do it. Other than that,
like
no.
You talking about wearing a catcher's glove and
no, like getting in the box.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would hurt. That would hurt a lot.
Be a fool's errand. Well, DP went high and tight on Smoltz today while talking about the Hall of Fame.
You can only have one vote: Pete Rose or Barry Bonds. Wow.
What was the poll question again?
McLovin, do you have the results there while I let John stall for a moment there? Who do people want to be, John Smoltz or Darius Rucker?
I think most of these votes are coming from East Lansing, Michigan. 58% John Smoltz.
Oh, I'm so glad you didn't go the other way. If East Lansing was going Darius Rucker.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be East Lansing. They were going for Darius there. All right, so you got one vote.
One vote.
For a Hall of Fame. Pete Rose, Barry Bonds.
I mean, it's hard for me to not envision Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
I love when Dan puts our guests, as he often does, on the spot. But he didn't do it. Wasn't the kind of question that it was, awkward in terms of something personal to Smoltz. But you have one vote, and you're, cheater in one way versus cheater another way, and betting on baseball versus PEDs. I would agree. I would take Pete Rose ahead of Bonds just for the simple reason. Forget about all the home runs and everything. But the all-time hits king. There's something about Pete Rose, and I think he's more than paid his due for all these years of being kept out of baseball and out of the Hall. But it was funny kind of seeing Smoltz kind of squirm and sweat, and that he didn't have an immediate answer. It made it just all the more interesting to see what he was going to finally go with.
One thing though, you got to be careful with. There was like hilarity, and he did the poll question, but Dan's got to come back to it and say like, hey, let me get your answer, because if you let it go, then it's kind of a waste. You ask him a question, he's on the spot, and then he gives a joke to kind of break the tension. But Dan goes, no, but who would you have? And he made him answer it, which is a good move by Dan.
Well, Smoltz also talked about the difficulty of pitching in Wrigley Field. McLovin, if you could pitch one game in the majors in any field in history, where would it be?
Wow. Definitely. It'd be Wrigley with the wind blowing in. Growing up, I used to love when we played the Cubs. It either meant the wind was blowing out and Mike Schmidt was going to hit 4 home runs for the Phillies. But if the wind was blowing in, I'm not even watching because it's impossible. So I'd go with the wind blowing in Wrigley because I might have a chance.
But you wouldn't take your hometown Phillies? If they're going to give you a uniform and you can be like an actual Philly on the Phillies roster for a day?
See, to me, no, that'd have to be in the Vet, the old stadium. The new stadium is...
It's your dream. You could go anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, so I could be in the Vet?
I grew up loving Ron
Connie
Guidry.
Mack Stadium?
If I could wear the 49 and put on the Yankees jersey and pitch and pretend I'm like Ron Guidry for a day or for a night.
You're a lefty?
Yeah, the whole lefty thing, and the Louisiana Lightning and Little Cajun, and that 25-3 year that he had in 78.
I've never heard you talk about Ron Guidry before in my life.
But I loved Ron Guidry.
Now he knows.
And Chris Chandler.
And your favorite basketball player of all time was Bob McAdoo?
Bob McAdoo, because of the basketball that I got, the fake plastic basketball with the fake signature.
You're an onion, Fritzy. They're random. We barely even got to.
I'd probably go Marlins Park, that dolphin thing out in the outfield. No, you know what I do? I do Field of Dreams.
Yes.
And I would lay out Moonlight Graham right in his ear, right in his ear. All right, stick around. We're going to cut up some icy cheese and serve it to the Danettes. We are back here at the Box Score, guys. It's playoff season. The Final Four starts Saturday. The NBA and NHL playoffs are a few weeks off. Now, you have covered the NBA, you have covered the Final Four, but your hockey knowledge is still a little suspect. That's where we come in. We are going to play Swedish cheese or Swedish hockey player. It is every man for himself. You tell me whether it's to be shredded on an Unglandslet or it is an NHL hockey player. The winner gets, of course, a free trip to Sweden, and the loser has to eat 45 pounds of cheese before leaving today. We will start with you, Paulie. Kavli, cheese or NHL? Kavli.
Oh, Kavli. By the way, I loved playing this game growing up as a kid in the south side of Chicago. Kavli sounds like a defenseman, not a big stick guy. I'm going to go Islanders, but I'm not sure. Kavli's I'm going to go hockey player.
Assist leader.
I'm sorry to announce, but it is a cheese spread. Kavli cheese spread.
I was going to say hockey player.
Fritzy, you're up next. Gradost, cheese or NHL?
Gradost. I'm going to say that Brian Gradost is a Nashville Predator left winger.
Lars Gradost.
yeah, there may be a correct pronunciation, but we don't have it. It is a cheese, I'm sorry to announce. It is a cheese.
Oh. Really?
Round.
Gradost.
Mild.
The umlaut.
This is tough.
McLovin, Steen, cheese or NHL?
Steen.
No, they're not doing 3 cheeses in a row.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Fritzy logic. You wouldn't go...
Or are they tricking you?
Yeah, they know that I wouldn't think that they would do 3 cheeses in a row.
Claude Osteen.
I'm going to go, he's definitely a defenseman, by the way.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Defenseman for the Edmonton Oilers.
Ooh, good guess. Look at you calling out the team.
It is a hockey player for sure. Alexander Steen, St. Louis Blues. A defenseman that may be leading the team in goals over the last 3 seasons, so I think he's on the other side of that. All right.
Might have been traded at some point.
Yes. Paulie. Payarvi, cheese or NHL?
Oh. Gerhard Peryavi. He was in Thunder Bay back in the 60s. I don't know if he made it to the show.
A lot of little dots over there.
Gerhard Peryavi. Man, there's 3 umlauts. That smells like cheese to me.
Yeah.
Well, it smells like a hockey player because it is a hockey player. Magnus Payarvi for the St. Louis Blues.
Man, these are hard.
That was his son. Magnus was Gerhard's son. Gerhard.
A long tradition in that family. Maybe they are cheesy ears. McLovin, Hornqvist, cheese or NHL?
That sounds like Lundqvist.
Hornqvist.
Helmut Hornqvist. Get up. Slapper.
Yeah, you know, I want to guess cheese because I haven't guessed cheese yet, but this feels like a hockey player. Feels like.
You see Kvist?
Does Ottawa still have a team? If so, then they're right winger.
Senators.
And Radek Bonk running
Yeah,
the show.
he was traded, of course, to the Penguins. 1 fewer goal than Sidney Crosby, despite playing 13 fewer games. I knew that.
Awesome.
Fritzy, Sedin, cheese or NHL?
Wow. That's got to be NHL. I'm going to say Mats. Well, there's a Matt Sundin, but I'm going to say Sedin. That just sounds very much like a hockey.
It very much is, and it could be Daniel or Henrik of the Vancouver Canucks. Twins and line mates. Good for them. The winning Swedish hockey and cheese connoisseur is McLovin.
I studied for weeks.
Congratulations.
I'm not sure Kavli. Brock, you guys might want to look back at Kavli. I think that's an overall brand of food. I'm not sure it's a type of cheese.
Whoa.
That's
You
very
won.
honest.
Why are you complaining?
That's very honest of you. He's protesting his own victory.
This honesty thing
Just
is
look
new.
into it, because I have a feeling the producers are not exactly
So it may not be a
Swedish cheese connoisseurs,
Oh,
but
okay.
we'll see.
Yeah, you are right. And they give the victory to Fritzy and Paulie. Congratulations, guys.
Wow.
All right, don't go away. We are pitting two famous laughs against each other. You know who has me laughing every single second of the day? Ram Heavy Duty, because we're looking at the other guys who don't have the best-in-class towing, torque, and horsepower. Ha, 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 ha! Oh, guts, glory, Ram.
Word.
I was like, Tom, where you going today?
We are closing up shop here on the box score. McLovin, Rucker, or Seton? Who do you have in a laugh-off?
Wow. It's interesting. We did get some tweets about Darius's laugh, sort of takes over. I like them both. I'm going to lean towards Darius because he's much more famous, and therefore it's cooler to hear him laugh.
Oh, but Seton is a champ.
That's tough because Darius is more of like a machine gun rattling off into the distance, but he only really has one laugh. Seton can fake laugh with a little more variety, which is helpful on a radio show.
Who's faker, Darius or Seton?
Seton, way faker. Darius, I think, is a real laugher.
Yeah, it feels like he's really laughing, or is he just fooling all of us?
But do you take some of the fakeness of Seton and, like Paulie said, you get the range of different types of laughs? Does that put him?
Seton's got more range as a fake laugher. Darius is more of a true over laugher.
All right, earlier Rucker talked about playing on Letterman's show, his last show. Paulie, if you could have, for DP's last show, let's say it would be Rucker, Neuheisel, maybe John McEnroe, or the Bagpipers playing Amazing Grace. Who would you have?
Ooh. Man, for Dan's last show, I would want Darius there for sure, and I think he will be, whenever that is. As far as other musicians, yeah, John McEnroe would be great. Neuheisel's been very great to us, but to take us home that day,
how about last segment, Arcade Fire itself appears in studio to play Awake.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, or maybe you have the Bagpipers learn Awake and do that last one. Darius covered or something. I don't know.
Right. I'll be typing up my resume and getting ready to leave, so I may miss it, but who knows?
All right, Fritzy, speaking of the final show, let's say that you booked Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin as a surprise for DP, but an hour prior to him coming on, he called up and canceled. Paulie, how about we do a little role play? You would play Robert Plant's PR guy. Let me see. Fritzy, how would you talk to him to get him to come on the show?
Okay, I got this. Yeah, Todd, Robert's running a little late today. He won't be there for the 11:35 and 11:45 second. Any chance he could do Monday's show?
The problem is it's our last show ever, and we've been promoting this for a long time, so we really need to figure out a way to get
Any chance you could do one more show if Robert promises to be there Monday?
I wish we could, but Dan has made it very clear that this is his last show, and it's very important that we find a way somehow, some way to get
What
him
if Dan finds out that you could have had Robert on Monday if you would have extended it by one more day and chose not to have his hero in studio?
The last thing I want to do is get into a big argument with you or cancel Robert Plant. We had this scheduled. It's incumbent upon you, knowing this was the last show and this was the whole reason.
Let Dan know he's going on Jim Rome Monday.
He's entitled to go on whatever show he wants, but today, sometime before noon Eastern, you have to make sure that Robert Plant is in this building performing.
How big of a check will you write if I can get Robert Plant there by 11:35?
It's non-negotiable. This is very, very wrong by you guys. It's unprofessional. We've been promoting it.
You know, I got Mike and Mike on the line. I got to go.
Well, maybe that'll get you ready for the guest list that you're trying to compile for Monday. Who is on Monday? Oh, no, it's tomorrow. I'm sorry. Who's on tomorrow?
Well, Monday we've got all kinds of stuff going on. We got Reggie Miller's coming on Monday, Kevin Millar, but looking at tomorrow,
bone dry.
Jay Williams, ESPN college basketball analyst who won a championship with Duke back in 2001 over Arizona.
Formerly Jason.
He's
played a little bit with the Bulls.
Jay Williams will be our lead guest tomorrow as we look ahead to the Final Four. Beyond that, you know, a lot of work.
Now say Jay Williams again.
Needs to be done. And once again, Jay Williams.
To reiterate.
He played briefly with the Bulls, had a motorcycle accident.
Don't go negative.
NBA career.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, guys, and thanks for watching the box score. We look forward to Jay Williams and all of that. It's tomorrow on Dan Patrick, but this is the box score. Back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern right here in Audience. The podcast is available on iTunes or at podcastone.com. One more for Sven. How about it?
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the box score. Holy cow!